What's up? Welcome to my video, and this video is, well, basically I have a couple of donuts here. Went to Dunkin' Donuts and came back out, tried to start my truck, and nothing happened. And I tried to start my truck about 15 times, and it is doing nothing. Everything works. The dash works. Everything on the lights work. Dash works. Blow motor works, radio works, but nothing else happens. It's not cranking over. It's not turning on at all. I was at Dunkin' Donuts for probably no more than, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. Ate a donut there, got a couple of them to go, got back in my truck, ready to go to the next place, but apparently this truck does not want to do that. So I was thinking maybe the battery was kind of low or something like that, because I had this situation about 3 weeks ago, where I tried about 6 times to start up, and it eventually did start up. This time I tried about 12 times to start this truck up, and nothing happens. But hopefully I was hoping that it was a dead battery. So I turned the headlights on and I went out, checked to see whether it was dim or not, and it was pretty bright. I mean, granted, the sun's out. Really can't get a good gauge of it, but it was pretty bright. So I was, can't tell 100% whether the battery's low or whatever, but for a low battery, the beam was pretty bright. So I eventually asked somebody to jump, but before I did that, I noticed that the terminals were really, they weren't really corroded, but I could see that there was some corrosion on it. So I had a small wrench set that I bought from AutoZone, got it out, took the terminals off, got some wire brush that I had in the back, and pretty much cleaned it up, put it back in, and try to start up. After that, nothing happened. So I was like, okay, maybe it's a low battery. So I did ask somebody to try to help me, and it took a couple of tries before somebody actually agreed to help me get a jump. And I got a jump. Had the wires, had the cables on the truck for about, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes. Try to start up, and did that maybe like 3 or 4 times, and figured that definitely not the battery that's the problem on here. So I was like, okay, glad I figured that out. It's not the battery. And I did get the battery changed up about a year and a half ago, and batteries do go defective, but apparently in this situation it's not the battery. So I was like, it's not the battery, it might be the alternator. So I'm thinking it might be the alternator, but I realized it's not the alternator. It's not the alternator because my car wasn't running when this situation happened, where it won't start on me. It didn't run and then die out, and then I had an issue starting. But if it was the alternator, just from previous experience, if you put cables to the battery from another car or battery pack, the car should at least start up or crank up or whatever. It should do something. If it doesn't, it should. Well, the test for the alternator is if you put cables to it, it should start up, and then once you take the lines off, it should die out. But it didn't happen in this case. It didn't even start up, no crank. I didn't even hear a slow crank. Nothing like that happened. So, unfortunately, unfortunately, it's it's not the alternator. So it's not the battery. It's not the alternator. So I spent some time thinking about it. It could be a couple other things. So I pretty much went through a couple of scenarios. Easy scenario first, and the scenarios were, it could be a fuse or a relay. Those are two simple things. If it was a fuse or a relay, there's an AutoZone a couple blocks away. I could just walk there, get the fuse or the relay, pop it in. So I popped out the fuse box and checked to see if there was anything burnt from sight. Nothing that I could spot that was off. So just to tackle this, I tackled the relay first. The starter relay, I found out where it was, took it out, saw another relay on in the fuse box that was similar in amp to the one that I took out from the starter. Pop it in and try to start up. Nothing happened. Unfortunately, nothing happened. But I was pretty sure that it wasn't the relay to begin with, because I was hearing like a click coming from somewhere, and that click is essentially coming from the solenoid, of the starter. It's just that the starter motor is not running. I mean, I knew it wasn't the relay, but I did that just to make sure that it wasn't the relay. So cross off the relay as being the cause of this on the list. So basically, there's a couple other things that I could think of. Try it out. A fuse, a blown fuse or whatever. I don't have a fuse tester with me, but I checked out the fuse box, and I thought to myself, there were a couple of times where a fuse had caused my car not to start. Not this truck, but I had a couple of cars previously that had fuse issues where the car wouldn't start. So one of those issues was there was nothing on, it was like an absolutely dead car. Like there was nothing turned on. No radio, no blower motor, nothing. It's as if the cables were taken off the battery. So with that car, it turned out that it was the main fuse that was dead. It was the main fuse that was blown. The fuse that connects the battery to the fuse box, the main fuse, that was blown. But it was, that situation is not this situation, because I am getting electricity in the car. It's just not starting up. So I had to scratch that out, because with that situation, once I replaced the main fuse, everything else worked. It cranked up, everything, all electronics work. But in this case, I am not getting, I am getting electricity. The car is just not cranking up. So I'm thinking to myself, what else could it be? That other fuse situation that I had, there was a blown fuse. My car was cranking, but it wouldn't turn over. Turned out it was the fuse to the fuel pump that was causing it. It wasn't getting any fuel to the engine, and it wouldn't turn over. But once I replaced that fuse, car turned over without a problem. But with this truck, it's a whole different situation, because I'm not getting any crank at all. So it's not cranking at all. So it's not that fuse. I mean, hypothetically, it could be another fuse that's causing it. Maybe the fuse to the computer. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I don't have a fuse tester on me, so I can't really test that out. The scenario right now that I'm thinking about, as far as what's causing this, is something that I hope is not the case, which is the starter on this truck. I had the starter put in maybe like about 7 months ago. I had the starter replaced on this truck 7 months ago, and I'm hoping that it's not the starter that went out on me, because this starter probably lasted me about, 10,000 miles, if it turns out that it was the starter it's the starter that's the problem. And right now I'm here waiting for Tripway to get back to me, to tell me when when they're gonna pick up my truck. But the starter that I did get was a rebuilt starter from AutoZone, a remanufactured one, and I'm hoping that I'm really hoping that's not the case, because if it is, I'm gonna have to, I'm already spending some time right now waiting for Tripper to get back to me. It's gonna cost me a couple of hours, and then when I get back, it's gonna cost me either my time or money out of my pocket to change it myself. Which I really don't want to do at this moment, because I've been pretty busy lately and I've got other things to do. But I can't think of anything else because I've had scenarios before where the starter went out on me, like my previous time, and on this truck, it's almost like everything is pretty much symptomatic of the starter just not just dying out on me. So it kind of sucks, but at least I got a couple of donuts here that I could eat while I wait for AAA to get back to me. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this. Hopefully it's nothing serious. It's nothing that I gotta spend money on. But at this point, it seems like I'm gonna have to spend money on my time on a starter job. Because I'm pretty sure that starter is under warranty, so I could probably just get another one. But it kind of sucks. This situation kind of sucks. So I did spend some time and figure out what the problem was to this truck. The AAA did come get me about 2 hours. 2 hours from when I had that issue. Told it to my house, and I spent some time working on it. I did do that little test where, I kind of, there's a test on YouTube where you could test out the starter with from the relay, where you put a wire between two different little terminals on the relay. I did that. Starter didn't crank up, and I did bump the starter a couple of times, see if it did crank up, and it, that didn't work out. So I was 100% sure that it was the starter that was the problem, and it kind of sucked because I did spend a couple hours taking the starter out, taking to AutoZone, had a couple words with them about how the starter didn't last more than 8 months, which was ridiculous. They told me they couldn't guarantee that. I mean, it was a remanufactured starter, but there was a warranty on it. They gave me another starter. I put it in. It started up without a problem, without any issue whatsoever. So the guy did tell me from AutoZone that it's always better to get a brand new starter than a rebuilt starter, because what they do with rebuilt starters, the one part that's broken on the starter is the one they swap out, and everything else has the same mileage. That all those other components will be on that rebuilt alternator with the amount of mileage that was on there when it went out. Like, they don't actually just swap out all the main parts or anything like that, all the parts that are integral to the starter. They just swap out the part that's broken on it, and then they clean it up, do whatever industrial thing they do with cleaning it up, and then they just put it back on the market. I really wasn't gonna get. I really wanted to get a new starter, but that would have cost me $300. $300 total, and I really didn't want to do that. But that's the situation as far as this is concerned. It really was the starter that kind of died out on me. If you guys are watching this, I hope this has helped you guys out. If you guys want to give me a thumbs up, please give me a thumbs up. And if you guys want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. All right, guys, take care.